Hello, this is Stefan with Warm Inside. Welcome. Hello. Let's see what we got today. So, one of the things that I've been watching more and more is the idea of grinders. I personally am not a female, so I'm looking at female grinders. I saw a request for a male grinder. I'm not quite sure how that would work. So if you want to leave comments in there, it might be a project that I'm willing to tackle at a later time. Just kind of get an idea of what's going on and what it is. But female grinder, I at least understand the basic concepts of let's basic concepts of we want to feel some kind of surface against the body that kind of, I don't know, I guess my reference point would be the cat's tongue or something like that. So what I'm going to do here is kind of generate a tongue and see where we go from there. Maybe a little bit of a fantasy tongue and kind of give some options and some design there. And let's see what we wind up with. And as I've been doing, I will wind up publishing this to, printables.com and also Thingiverse. So you should be able to find this for personal use. Have all your fun. Share a like attribute. I mean, I guess if you want to make a model of it and sell it, cool. Send me something. Put a link in the comments that lets me know that you're doing it, because I would be interested to know if you've managed to find a market and create one off of what we have. And I don't have a problem with that. I am here just generating ideas. The ones that I really like, I will probably not give away. The ones that I don't have as much of a feel for or as much of a thought on as far as where it's going, I probably won't give away, right? So again, symmetry, looking at what we got here, pull it out, kind of start giving it that tongue shape. As always, bottom left hand corner, you'll see what screen I'm using, what keys I'm using. Oh, as you can see, I did some unintentionally pulled some angle in there, but that's okay. We'll pull it out right like that. Paying particular attention for myself, I'm going to pay attention to this curve right here, because I don't want to get such a curve that it's really hard to deal with. Come in here. This should probably be a fairly quick video, because again, I'm just trying to get basic concepts, trying to get a little bit of a sample of what a grinder could look like. Interesting thing to me about grinders, at least in the design phase, is that the remesh is what I was looking for, is that it should be fairly cheap to make in silicone, right? Because, or at least this design will be fairly cheap, but not all designs, but there's not going to be a lot of depth here as far as grabbing that, or as far as like making a mold is going to be fairly cheap. The cost of making the actual item may vary a little bit, but we'll see. So okay, we have kind of a basic tongue shape. Working on it right there. Maybe pull this out a little more. You know, one of the things that I always wonder about on a grinder design is how big is big enough, how big is too much, right? One of the things you definitely don't want is something so thick that it's no fun to straddle, and you don't want it so thin that it's well, let me rephrase that. You may not want it so thin that it's precision point. You might, I don't know. In my design, I am not looking for something that's so thin that you can't, or so thick that it can't be straddled. One of my designs, the Yes, I have had a couple customers who really liked the idea, but what their complaint was, and they're completely right, and I appreciate feedback anytime, was that the base was too wide. And so what they're saying is that with the thickness of the base that I had, the circular design rather than a flat design, it would not be comfortable between their legs, which is kind of a failure on my part, failure on my tester's part to mention, although I realized by talking to customers that they had a slightly different use case than I had intended. In particular, one of the use cases was as a dilator more than a plug or more than a Kegel exerciser. And so the Yes is being redesigned to have a narrow base, which I'm going to show you at the end of this video what I'm talking about. It's kind of a real quick one. It's already modeled. It's coming out soon. One of the things that I think that makes this kind of interesting is if we give this a fantasy look. I think some dimension on that would be nice. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out how I want it. There we go. That's probably what I want. So and I've got one of these that I'm actually working on selling. This one's going to be slightly different because I don't want to make out the same ones that I'm going to be selling. But the concept will be very, very close to one that I'm working on prototyping for sales. So then we got that kind of coming out in there. Smooth that out again, as always. For me, I like smooth until I'm ready to do the details, right? And then I think one thing that might be interesting here is what if we made this kind of a forked tongue? So let's grab this and shorten it a little bit. And then I'm going to fork it right here with this snake hook. I think that's what I want to use. Let's see here. Does that work? No, that's not exactly what I wanted. Let's back that out. Nope, I'm hitting the wrong keys. There we go. Let's try the grab tool. Does that do it? Yeah, there we go. Ooh, I don't like it that much of a pointed up though. Okay. Not a huge fork, but an opportunity to catch parts in there and kind of get a little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a pinch on there, but it's kind of what I'm thinking. Pull this. Oh, I'm losing too much. Let's see, maybe remesh. What am I looking at here? Face is 38,000. I think we got a little too much there. So we will make that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to simplify the mesh and we'll see what kind of changes it makes with the transform modifier of, what am I looking for? Decimate. This is one of the things I've learned since the last video, and I can probably be fairly aggressive on this. This is, again, I'm doing this on my MacBook, so it's not as fast as my normal design machine, but I'll tell you what, one thing that Apple has done is give me amazingly easy screen record tools, and so I really like those, so I don't have to think about it. And now we're down to 15,000 faces, and because of the style of this model and the simplicity of large, kind of see it if we look at edit mode, much larger. We could probably actually decimate that even more. Let's look at this. If we take this through a decimate 0.25, That's not right. Why do we wind up with a, maybe it's, do I have to be in object mode? Yeah, object mode. So I can take it down to 4,000. That's even better for what I'm doing here with very little loss in detail. And again, I'll add some of that back, but for right now, that's fine. I'm just trying to maintain simplicity and trying to keep it managed. I don't like the way that this looks in here. I think that looks really croppy, uncomfortable, so let's see if we can maybe clean that up a little bit to what I like. Again, if this is yours, you do what you like, what makes you happy. That, one of the things I've been trying to think about more is printing. When I print something, what it's going to do, how's it going to look, right? I'm going to come along and in here, let's start thinking about what texture we need for a grinding pad. Ooh, way big. Let's cut that radius down. Probably cut that strength down a little bit, but let's see here. Just think we can still cut that down a little bit more on the radius. I want to have multiple kind of layers in here. Multiple cuts in here. It's not doing what I like. That's okay. We experiment, play with things, see how they go. Let's put a crease in here. More of a crease, just kind of giving that some texture and some feel. Trying to increase what we can add as a grinding surface. I definitely need some more in there. So let's see here. 45. How bad are we gonna go? Ooh, we went to 30,000 again. Let's undo that. Let's take this, we probably don't need to go there, let's go to 0.1. What does that look like? Slight add in there, okay. Almost feel like we lost something, but I think we can fix it a little bit as we come along here, work on the details. And we're going to add a little bit more in here, so let's take this down to, let's see, 0.9, just a little bit more. See if that gives me what I need. Yeah, I definitely lost something there. 0.5. 18,000. Let's see, can I get some more? There we go. That looks a little bit more like what I was hoping for. Got narrow ridge down that line. Let's increase that again. Kind of want that little, whoa, too much there for me. Again, when I say too much, I mean too much for me. You may like it, and it may be what you want in your design, and that's perfectly cool, but it is not what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to go back and start adding those kind of bumps in that I was talking about, some ridges that maybe feel, hopefully feel good to rub on. That did not work out. That's probably okay. my process works is I will design this, I will print it out, get some feedback visually from some female friends that I have or my spouse, and kind of get a feel as to what they think. Probably let them hold it in their hand, or well, not probably. They will hold in the model in their hands and go and tell me whether they think that that is something that is good or bad. And if they don't like it, then I will ask them for what feedback they have and adapt from there. Hopefully they can help me improve, and I feel like when the product improves, everybody wins. I want to sell a product that is useful and is fun, and also kind of attractive physically, right? Oh, that's too big. Go back down to that 40 I think we were at. That's attractive and kind of has a fun little fantasy feel to it on this one. I very rarely go for realism. I think that for me, again, every time I say I feel, I am talking specifically about the way that I think about things. I feel that fantasy is more fun. Realism is real. Like I think that if you want real, go get the real stuff, right? And sometimes I can understand the idea, like, you know, why a person would want that, and I completely support them. I do sell some products that are a little bit more on the real side, and they sell well. Like, people like them, and I enjoy that they like them. So I'm definitely not knocking the idea of real, but I think that these are more fun to create. They're more interesting to kind of. I feel like I need more there though. More interesting to look at visually, and so when I work through this process, that's one of the things that I take into account is what is the visual presentation, right? Or huge thing that I take into account. I shouldn't say just one of the things is, for me, a huge part of the process is what visually is appealing, right? What would make it exciting to the potential user, you know. I want them to be able to take this toy and show it to their friends. Now, I know most people aren't going to do that. That's perfectly fine. I get that. But I want the limitation to be them, not the toy. I want them to be proud of, like, this is really cool. I like it. And I think that it's something that is artistic, right? Funny thing is, I was having a conversation with somebody today about artistic quality and realism, and how I think it takes far more artistic ability to create something that represents the real world, that looks real, and yet here I am creating something that is not representative of the real world, right? Not representative of what you would find in the real world. Maybe a commentary on my artistic ability. I don't know. I don't feel that I am an artist by any point. I do feel that I have some artistic thoughts and some artistic ability, but I definitely am not a talented artist in the way that I know a lot of people are, and I respect those people, and that's probably why I think that way. that I am not that, because of in respect for their artistic ability. I am an artist only in the fact that I create things. I say only, but in the idea that I create things, not that I have great artistic talent. Cool. Interesting thing that I'm going to have to ask for feedback from when I have this tested is if this groove in the middle is actually counterproductive. I wonder if it's going to be counterproductive actually. Okay. Lost a little bit of this fork tongue. Let's see what we can do to fix that. Pull the grabs out. This might be a good use for the snake hook here. That little bit right there is going to drive up the cost of production. It's funny when I look at that now these days, that's what I see. I was like, oh, I just raised the plane, by 10%. That's 10% more material that I need here to make my mold. Again, I usually use block molds, not glove molds. I just time consuming of glove mold just drives me insane. I realize it would be far more cost effective, but for me, time is more important than dollars at the end of the month. I am not doing this to feed a family. I'm not doing this to feed anybody. I am doing these kind of things to satisfy my artistic and creative desires. So that allows me to be a little bit sloppier about what I do, although I do have I want to break even concept, so I'm not just throwing away money constantly. As you can see, I'm going over this again and again, just tuning it a little bit each time, trying to get what I want out of this as far as symmetry goes. Where are we? 20,000 faces. I can handle a few more. Because I'm wondering if that's why I can't get my smoothness here that I want. Cool. Awesome. And again, this doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. That's not what I'm looking for, because I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't want it perfectly smooth. I think perfectly smooth would ruin some of the grinder thought. Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to undo the symmetry for a second and just kind of add some little odd detail in here. That I'm kind of getting some symmetry there, but it's not exact, so I think it gives it a little bit more of a possibility of feeling alive, whereas absolute symmetry is not. And again, this gets back into that realism thing. Am I going for real or not? I'm going for real fantasy. So do with that what you will. Okay. Overall, I'm fairly happy where that is going, but we are now at the point that we need some texture. Oh, let's see. Can we do that? Nope, that's not what I want to do. Ah. Okay. How do I make that work? Distorted noise type under. Okay. Draw sharp. Clay strips layer. I feel like I'm drawing a blank here. I feel like I just went stupid. Okay. Ah, that's doing what I want. Okay, cool. That was exactly what I wanted. Baby, that's some texture. Pull that just a little bit into here. I don't like that. Let's do it a little bit less strength maybe as we pull it back into here. Which I know is funny considering I just spent all that time smoothing it out. And then I'm going to do something even more incredible. I'm going to come back and smooth it again. Get rid of the texture. Again, I'm just kind of doing some light smoothing here to knock the really sharp edges off because while edges are fun, sharp edges are usually not. Everybody has a kink or a desire, so I'm very careful to use usually. I don't pull this to more of a point because I don't want these to be really thin when I cast the silicone. When I look at casting this, I'm going to I'm going to wind up pouring it upside down. So let's just do this here. So we cut that flat. What is that tool? That's the box trim. I've become a big fan of the box trim. Although every time you box trim, you need to remesh. Or I find it best to remesh, is what I should say. You need to do exactly what you feel like you need to do. I want to remesh. And then I'm going to come along, and it doesn't look like I'm perfectly flat there. So, scrape. Where's my scrape tool? There's a scrape. I'm not really worried about the top here. I don't think that's doing exactly what I want. So let's inflate it instead and cut it again. How much am I changing it? Not really. Good to go, good to go. Although that looks really amazing with that texture below, but what I'm thinking here is as far as the flat bottom is one of the ways that I see this being used is laying on some kind of surface and kind of rubbing against it. And so where that works is if we have a flat surface that it can kind of just sit on and stick to the flat surface that you're using, that the person is using for grinding, right? Cool, awesome. That's what we're looking for. That looks beautiful. Again, simple grinder based loosely on a tongue to me. I mean, that's what I'm seeing here. That's what I'm going to call it, is a tongue. You know, we call it like a forked tongue kind of design. Remesh one last time. What are we at? 33,000 faces. Oh, just for grins, let's see what we look like if we decimate this a little bit. 33. If I pull this down to 0.5, cutting half of my faces out, what do I lose? I don't see anything of importance, so let's apply that. Down a little bit. All looks good. Awesome. So, file, save as, my normal dormant side, grinder, okay. Save that one, file, export. Oh, documents. I don't know where we want to put this. Documents, that looks good. Grinder STL. Hello, Mr. Machine. There you go. Bring it up here. Woohoo! Let's see, if I was to make this, how big do I think that should be? 4-inch tongue would be huge. Oh, because I'm doing it in the wrong dimension. 4-inch tongue. Yep, yeah. Question is, can I get away without supports? And I would almost bet yes, except for I'm going to have some problems in this texture. So I think I need supports from the build plate. I always keep my infill nice and low because there's no reason to waste it for what I'm doing here. ASA, high detail, because I like it. And that, ooh, put that back to where you were. There we go. That is a tongue grinder. So file, save as a project so that we have that to publish later. Slice it. Export the G-code. And then just for other people, I'm going to actually do one of the MKS. Transfer it there. Or MK3. Export the G-code. Save. And I can show you real quick. I am currently printing a similar design, although it's more of a snail than a tongue, and we can see that right there. Very, very similar design. I call it a tongue, but it really looks more like a snail. It's pretty cool. So again, the weird stuff that people find the mini one, because this is my mini, as you can see there. So I've got to let that one finish printing, and then we'll move along. Thank you very much. Another video done. Again, I will publish this video, publish this to Prusa Prints. Sorry, what's it called now? They changed the name of it. I think it's called Printables. That's the new one. It will be right inside. There we go. Is that me? That is me. I have more than that. Where's my... I have published the Warlord sculpture, War Master, some really old ice cream cones that I made. And so I'm pushing things there. You will also find it on Thingiverse, although that is harder because they do not like these kind of items. But let's see, Warlord V3. Oh, I can't find it because I'm not logged in. Unless you're logged in, you can't search for items that are marked adultish. So if you ever are looking on Thingiverse and you can't find something, it might be because you're not logged in. Can I find that? Let's see. There's a ton of ice cream cones on here, and none of them are mine. That's funny. How about if we add warm inside? Okay, well, at this point, it seems that Prusa printers may be more friendly to objects that Thingiverse isn't. I don't know. Eventually, I'm sure they're going to flag me. And oh, there we go. I found myself. There are the cones there. You can see here. Interesting. They pulled my other two. Huh. They literally, I had the other designs up there, the Warlord and the War Master, and they got pulled, which is odd because this one did not yet. And this has been up there, I don't know, this has been up there quite a long time. Probably 2 years. Interesting. Again, I guess I need to mark it not safe for work and put it behind the photos and everything like that, but it seems like they have pulled my designs. Prusa Printers has not yet. I don't know what the long-term scenario is there. Maybe I need to put not safe for work in front of them and then everything's good. But either way, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Feedback, comments, anything. If you decide to make one of these, I would love to see a copy of it or a sample of it. Comment in the video to a link, whatever you want. It will be, I think all my stuff is share alike attribution, so you technically can sell it if you wanted. Yeah, Creative Commons attribution. So if you sell it, you gotta mention me. Other than that, have fun. Have a wonderful day.